This is channel Xianxia Audio. Please support me a subscription. This is the series I'm Not a Theater God. Chapter 21. Safety Talisman. Anyway, your task for the next 2 days is to search this street and see if there are any disaster hairs left under the ruins. Or other unusual things. Unusual things? The power of disaster affects the surrounding reality. How it affects depends on the disaster itself. Some disasters, just by standing there, will distort everything nearby. Some disasters will catch fire. It is said that even more bizarre ones can control humans. We call this influence disaster realm. The higher the level of a disaster, the greater the destructiveness and range of its disaster realm. Overall, we categorize all current disasters into levels 1 to 9. But each level has some aliases to intuitively represent their destructive power. For example, a level 9 disaster, we usually call it World Ender. World Ender, Chen Ling was stunned. So a level 9 disaster can really destroy the world? Although it's an exaggeration, it's pretty close to true world ending. It is said that a world ender level disaster possesses the power to completely annihilate a human realm. Xianxia seemed to recall something and lowered his voice, saying, "Don't you know?" "What?" "Actually, the one that ran out of your 3rd district the night before last was a world ender." Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. Chen Ling's face instantly turned pale. "Haha, I'm just kidding." Seeing Chen Ling's reaction, Xianxia laughed and patted his shoulder. "I heard that your 3rd district's disaster compass did explode. This usually only happens when a world ender descends. But how is that possible? It's been nearly 100 years since a world ender descended. And if it really were a world ender, the 3rd district would have probably been annihilated immediately. How could it still be safe and sound now? So, it's probably a disaster whose realm just happened to affect the disaster compass. Didn't your enforcer Han Meng fight it yesterday? He confirmed it was a level 5 disaster, not a world ender. So, relax." Xianxia stood with his hands on his hips, his face full of smiles. But Chen Ling couldn't smile. As the culprit who beat up Han Meng, Chen Ling knew best what was really going on with the level 5 disaster Xianxia mentioned. The level 5 that Han Meng encountered was not truly level 5. It was simply because at that time, the open black lens bracket audience expectation close black lens bracket was precisely stuck at 14% to 15%, and the audience that usurped the stage relatively possessed the combat power of a level 5 disaster. And Chen Ling clearly remembered that the number of audience members who ran out at that time was less than 1% of the entire audience. So what if the audience collectively escaped? Does that mean a complete world ender would descend? Thinking of this, a cold sweat broke out on Chen Ling's back. He had thought that the disaster in the audience would be strong. But he didn't expect it to be this strong. That was a super disaster with world ender capabilities. A ticking time bomb capable of destroying a human realm. "Alright, hurry up and get to work," Xianxia said, satisfied. "Okay." As Xianxia left, Chen Ling was left alone on the ruined street. He took a deep breath, temporarily suppressed the fear in his heart, and began searching among the rubble. No matter what level the audience was, they seemed to have to abide by the theater's rules. As long as Chen Ling always maintained the open black lens bracket audience expectation close black lens bracket above 20%, nothing would go wrong. Open black lens bracket audience expectation -1 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket current expectation 32% close black lens bracket. 2 lines of characters appeared in the rubble, then vanished in an instant. Ever since he went undercover as an enforcer, the audience expectation had increased by 10% in one go. However, over time, it was still steadily declining. At the current rate, if he did nothing, it would drop back to 20% in at most 36 hours. For the next few hours, Chen Ling meticulously searched the ruins. But after several hours, he still couldn't find any hairs or traces left by the disaster realm. To be honest, Chen Ling was also very curious about what kind of thing this disaster that ran out with his audience was. "Chen Ling," a voice came from not far away. Chen Ling, who was diligently searching for clues, looked up and saw his fellow unfortunate, Wu Yudong, walking towards him. "I heard them say you came early this morning?" Wu Yudong was sweating profusely. If nothing unexpected happened, he must have walked all the way from the 3rd district. "Why are you so fast? Didn't you go home?" "No, something happened." "Related to your younger brother?" Hearing this, Chen Ling suddenly looked up. What did you say? Oh, when I came just now, I passed by your house. I saw Officer Han Meng there, saying he wanted to find your younger brother. Wu Yudong wiped his sweat and couldn't help but sigh. But brother, your family's conditions are even worse than mine. Your house has holes in it? Chen Ling directly ignored Wu Yudong's teasing and asked again. Did Han Meng question my younger brother? No, a tall man with silver-rimmed glasses was standing inside talking to him. I didn't hear exactly what he said, but after only a few words, Officer Han Meng left. He didn't go inside the house. A tall man with silver-rimmed glasses? Chen Ling was stunned for a long time, and a thought suddenly flashed through his mind. He had actually forgotten about this. He had previously sent a letter to Aurora City, intending to have the open black lens bracket Dr. Close black lens bracket cure him. But too many things had happened in the past few days, completely pushing it to the back of his mind. Now it seemed that the open black lens bracket Dr. Close black lens bracket had arrived as promised to treat him. However, wasn't the 3rd district sealed off? How did he get in? One by one, doubts flashed through Chen Ling's mind. He urgently wanted to go home and see what had happened. I won't talk to you anymore. My task is to resettle the surviving Bingchen Street residents. And I still have a lot to do. Wu Yudong glanced at the time, said goodbye to Chen Ling, and hurried away. Since Han Meng was sent away, there should be no chance of him interrogating Chen Yan, and the house was still safe. Chen Ling thought, while quickly walking towards Qian Fan and the others. The open black lens bracket Dr. Close black lens bracket was a completely unknown entity to Chen Ling. He didn't dare to let Chen Yan and the other party stay alone for too long. He had to go home. Immediately. Squeak. Chen Ling took a step, crushing a tile in the ruins. He looked down, and a faint red color was pressed beneath the fragments. Chen Ling frowned slightly, and brushed away the debris. The outline of the red object gradually became clear. When he saw the full appearance of the object, his pupils constricted violently. It was a tattered safety talisman. In the corner of the safety talisman, 2 small characters were embroidered. Chen Yan. Chapter 22 Chu Muyan. Is it that late already? Chu Muyan sat by the door, looked down at his pocket watch, and sighed. Why isn't Big Brother back yet? Chen Yan rested his chin on his hands, sitting next to Chu Muyan, also looking eagerly down the street towards the door. The dim sunset gradually sank below the horizon, and the blue aurora in the sky became clearer. The two sat in a row like that, the cold wind blowing through the cracks in the wooden planks, making the kerosene lamp on the table sway precariously. Finally, at the end of the street where the aurora pulsed, a figure gradually became clear. He's back. Chen Yan shot up from his seat, waving at the distant figure. Big Brother. Chen Ling dragged his tired body, walking little by little towards home. He saw the 2 people sitting at the door. His eyes slightly narrowed, but he still waved back to Chen Yan immediately. Chu Muyan was startled, propped himself up from the ground with his hands on his knees, and waved with a polite smile. You must be Mr. Chen, right? Chu Muyan pushed up the silver-rimmed glasses on his nose. My name is Chu Muyan, and I am a doctor from Aurora City. Oh, hello. Chen Ling shook his hand. Have you been waiting long for me? Not really, not too long. It's been a long time. Chen Yan immediately interjected. Big Brother, you just left this morning. And he arrived, and he's been sitting in the living room ever since. He came this morning? Didn't you offer him water? I did, but he didn't drink it himself. Chen Ling's gaze shifted from Chen Yan and he looked at Dr. Chu apologetically. Dr. Chu, I'm really sorry to have made you come all this way and wait for me for so long. Actually, my illness is already cured. How about I treat you to dinner tonight, and send you back tomorrow? Initially, Chen Ling was scared by the audience, so he sought a doctor's help, but now he doesn't think of it as an illness, nor does he believe anyone can cure him. Could a world-ending level calamity be solved by just any doctor? Not to mention there was a mysterious theater that could suppress a world-ending level calamity. If Chu Muyan stayed here, not only would he be unable to cure Chen Ling, but over time, he might even discover the calamity in Chen Ling's mind. Chu Muyan was stunned. He looked at Chen Ling for a long time, then hesitated before speaking. Mr. Chen, actually, many times, a person's body doesn't realize it's sick. You might feel better now, but you might not be. Perhaps, you need me to give you a detailed examination. No, I don't need one. Chen Ling's refusal was very firm this time. One must know, He doesn't even have a heart now, letting Chu Muyan examine him? Wouldn't that be exposing his identity? Chu Muyan. Dr. Chu, I'm very grateful that you came all the way from Aurora City, but I really don't need an examination or treatment right now. Chen Ling realized his attitude was a bit problematic and immediately added sincerely. Alright, Chu Muyan sighed. However, I might not be able to go back now. Why? The third district is completely sealed off. And no one is allowed in or out. Didn't you know? Then how did you get in? I have a friend among the enforcers, and I asked him to make an exception for me to get in. Chu Muyan smiled helplessly. But you know, getting in is easy, but getting out, that's not so simple. The enforcers sealed off the third district primarily to prevent calamities from escaping. As some calamities are very small and can hide in human backpacks or even bodies to get out. Or merge with humans. In short, the difficulty of entering and exiting is not on the same level. Chen Ling, who had already joined the Enforcer Reserve, understood this very well. Chen Ling was a bit troubled. Chu Muyan came all the way from Aurora City specifically to treat him. And he didn't charge any fees. So it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say he was doing charity. Now that he's here and can't go home, Chen Ling couldn't just turn his back on him and kick him out to wander the streets. Could he? Big brother, I don't think he's a bad person. Chen Yan spoke up at the right time. Today, Enforcement Officer Han Meng came. And he was very fierce. But Dr. Chu helped me send him away. Hearing this, Chen Ling's eyes lit up slightly. May I ask a question? Go ahead. Chu Muyan nodded. Today Han Meng came. How did you get rid of him? Oh, I just told him that no one was home. And that it's very impolite to trespass into someone else's residence without the owner's permission. But he's an enforcement officer. Enforcement officers have the right to search private homes. Chen Ling didn't believe that tough guy would leave so easily. He listens to me more. Chu Muyan replied calmly. A few years ago, I saved his life, twice. I understand. Chen Ling nodded. Then you can stay here until the third district is unsealed. But I have one condition. What condition? Without my permission, you cannot perform any form of examination on me, or my brother. Alright, Chu Muyan lightly pushed up his silver-rimmed glasses and readily agreed. When Chen Ling returned home, he found that the original holes had all been patched up with wooden planks. Although some wind still occasionally leaked in, it was much better than last night's four-sided exposure. He looked back to see Chen Yan with his hands behind his back. Head slightly lowered, seemingly waiting for his praise. Thanks to you. Chen Ling patted his head. Otherwise, we would have had to sleep outdoors again tonight. Actually, there are still some gaps that haven't been filled. I'll go to the back mountain tomorrow and get some clay to seal them up. Chen Yan said with a slight blush. Chu Muyan walked through the door, saw this scene, and smiled. You brothers have a really good relationship. Of course. Chen Yan pouted. You two look quite alike. Do we? Chen Ling glanced at Chen Yan. Actually, not really, since we're not biological brothers, but living together for a long time does make people look more and more alike. I think we look quite alike. Chen Yan replied seriously. Oh, by the way, that's your room over there. The conditions are a bit simple. Please don't mind, Chen Ling said to Chu Muyan, indicating the room that originally belonged to Chen Tan and his wife. It's fine, I'm not picky. Chen Yan watched this scene from the living room, a flicker of complexity in his eyes. Next, Chen Ling personally went to the kitchen to prepare dinner for the three of them. After a day of hard work and running around, he was starving. Fortunately, he had honed his cooking skills in his previous life when he was a corporate slave, which allowed him to feed himself even in this different world. Half an hour later, the hot dishes were out of the pot, and the aroma made Chen Yan and Chu Muyan, who were sitting at the table, salivate. Mr. Chen's cooking is really good. Chu Muyan took a bite of a potato slice and couldn't help but exclaim. It's much better than most restaurants in Aurora City. Just call me Chen Ling. Chen Ling ate his meal while secretly observing Chu Muyan. From his attire and demeanor, he was a typical intellectual. Whether speaking or eating, he was refined and gentle, giving off a comfortable, refreshing feeling. Chen Ling had never seen this kind of temperament in the 3rd district or the 2nd district. Indeed, people from Aurora City were different. Suddenly, Chen Ling seemed to remember something. Dr. Chu, how much do you know about the path to communion with the gods? Chapter 23 Divine Grace. Upon hearing this, Chu Muyan's eyes flashed with surprise. What, you're also interested in the path to godhood? A little, and I plan to become an enforcer. So, enforcer. Chu Muyan nodded. So, you intend to walk the soldier god path? Probably. Enforcers, aren't they only allowed to walk the soldier god path? Who said that? Chu Muyan chuckled. Enforcers. No, it should be said that the vast majority of enforcement officers are from the soldier god path. Because this is the only path to godhood mastered by the Aurora domain. However, among the enforcement officers in Aurora City, there are also many divine grace holders from other god paths. They can also become enforcement officers. I don't have any special talents, so I might not even have a chance to become a divine grace holder. Chen Ling sighed. Most likely, I'll just have to wait 3 years after becoming an enforcer to try my luck at the soldier's path ancient treasury. Brother, who says you don't have talent? Chen Yan immediately put down his chopsticks and said seriously. You're so amazing. There will definitely be many of those god paths fighting over you. Chen Ling smiled bitterly. What Chen Ling said was true. Ever since his previous life, he had been an insignificant drop of water submerged in the tide of ordinariness. When he was a child, his parents did force him to learn some Qin, chess, calligraphy, and painting, but he didn't master any of them, and he forgot all of them when he grew up. His academic performance was also average, and his physical fitness was poor. He was the kind of ordinary person who might know a little bit about everything. But if you really brought it up, he was nothing. This was also true for Chen Ling in this life. With 2 lives of ordinariness superimposed, Chen Ling didn't believe he had the potential to be chosen by a god path. Talent is indeed unpredictable, Chu Muyan said thoughtfully. Some people may possess a certain talent, but it has never been revealed. Perhaps when the right time comes, it will manifest. Then if it's the soldier god path, how can one know if they have the talent? It's simple. The smile on Chu Muyan's lips gradually receded as he spoke in an extremely indifferent tone. You'll know if you kill someone. If killing one isn't enough, then kill 10, kill 100, if you kill 1,000, and the soldier god path still hasn't favored you, then you can be sure you don't have this talent. Chen Ling's chopsticks paused, and the living room fell into a dead silence. Just kidding, Chu Muyan smiled, like melting ice and snow, and a warm breeze once again swept across the dining table. If you don't kill, then you can only enter the ancient treasury. 3 years is long, but you are young, you can afford to wait. Killing people. Chen Ling looked at the rice in his bowl, recalling the scene of the crimson paper monster killing the 2 enforcers that night, and suddenly felt a bit nauseous. Chen Ling was an ordinary person. Even if he had killed countless people in games in his previous life and watched many gory movies, when it came to actually picking up a knife to kill, he still couldn't bring himself to do it. He couldn't cross that bottom line in his heart. That bottom line built by rationality and compassion. Then what is 8th path? Chen Ling remembered that the killing rhapsody he had drawn from Han Meng was from the judgment path of the soldier god path. But he didn't know what a path actually was. You even know about paths? Chu Muyan looked at him in surprise. Let's put it this way, if becoming a god is like a mountain climbing path, then besides the main road on the mountain, there will also be small paths. The god path is the main road, and a path is an extended path based on each person's different personality and talent. For example, Han Meng, he is relatively stubborn and has a sense of justice, so he is on the judgment path. Correspondingly, the abilities he gains when ascending to different ranks may also be different from other paths, possessing more personal characteristics. Chen Ling was thoughtful. Then how many paths does one god path have? That's hard to say. Some god paths are walked by many people, so naturally, more extended paths will be explored. For example, the soldier god path, as far as I know, has 7 different paths, but some less popular god paths might only have a few paths. Dr. Chu, are you also a wielder of the path to godhood? Chen Ling asked, remembering Lin Doctor's evaluation of him. Yes, Chu Muyan admitted generously. I walk the medical god Dao. Medical god Dao? Is the medical Dao ancient treasury also in the Aurora domain? The moment he asked this question, Chen Ling reacted, opening his mouth in surprise. You are a divine grace holder? Chu Muyan smiled without speaking. Although Chen Ling had already guessed that Chu Muyan walked the medical god Dao, he hadn't expected the other party to be a divine grace holder. Didn't they say this was very rare? How did he just casually encounter one? What did it feel like to become a divine grace holder? Chen Ling couldn't help but ask. Chu Muyan was thoughtful. It's hard to describe. It's probably like suddenly feeling transcended in an instant, and a gaze from the unseen looks at you. Then, the surrounding environment changes, and a God path leading to nothingness automatically appears before you. God path? Is it a real path? Not illusory? It's real. At least at that moment it's real. But before you step on it, it floats in the sky, constantly swaying. Like, Chu Muyan couldn't think of a suitable adjective at the moment. Like a ribbon? Chen Yan, who had been focused on eating, suddenly spoke. Ribbon? Chen Ling looked at him in surprise. Yes, a ribbon. Chu Muyan's eyes lit up. And he continued. Then the moment you step on it, it solidifies and then disappears. Although you can't see it, it will always exist within your body. Chen Ling looked at Chen Yan in confusion, who shrank his neck and whispered. I just heard his description. I just said it casually. All right, Chen Ling sighed. I hope I also have that day when I can step onto a God path. After finishing their meal, Chen Yan dutifully rolled up his sleeves to wash the dishes. Chu Muyan pulled out a book from somewhere and sat by the kerosene lamp, reading by the dim light, occasionally frowning, occasionally perplexed, lost in thought. As night deepened, the three of them returned to their respective rooms to rest. Chen Ling was the last to leave. He blew out the candle on the table, and the flickering flame immediately plunged the room into darkness. His gaze turned towards Chen Yan's room. Chen Ling slowly walked to Chen Yan's door, pulled out a broken safety charm from his pregnant, and was about to knock when his knuckles froze in midair. Open black lens bracket. Aye. After my surgery, I've been waiting in the hospital for you guys to pick me up. Then I heard outside that a world-ending level disaster had invaded. And I was very worried about you guys. Open black lens bracket. I sneaked out when those people in the hospital weren't paying attention. And I was just about to go home to find you guys. And then I saw you hanging on a monster. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. The enforcers seemed to be short-staffed. They only sealed off the outside of 2nd District and 3rd District. But there aren't many people stationed between the two districts. So I secretly ran over. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Brother, aren't we running? Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Brother, it's nothing to turn into a monster. As long as you're still you. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. That doctor seems very capable. I recovered very quickly. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. I don't know, maybe it fell off when I ran back. Close black lens bracket. Chen Yan's words kept flashing in his mind. And Chen Ling's knuckles clenched tighter and tighter. He looked at the safety charm in his hand. His eyes filled with confusion and bewilderment. Ever since he found this safety charm in the ruins of Bingchen Street, Chen Ling's heart had been pounding. Even after walking for 2 hours to get back, he kept thinking about this one thing. Thinking about it carefully. From the moment Chen Yan appeared until now, many things simply couldn't be explained. The timing of his appearance. The location of his appearance. It was all too coincidental. Could a teenager who had just undergone heart transplant surgery really cross the enforcer blockade and walk for more than 2 hours to the back of the mountain? Or was it that he wasn't human anymore either? Chapter 24. Poker. Wait, why did I use also? Chen Yan is Chen Yan, not something else wearing his skin. Chen Ling was certain of this. Since it was the same Grey Realm descent, and since the audience could merge with him, then why couldn't another descending calamity merge with a human? But all of this was Chen Ling's speculation. The truth, perhaps, he would only know by asking him directly. Just as Chen Ling was hesitating whether to knock on the door, it opened from the inside. Brother, Chen Yan rubbed his eyes. What are you doing? I have something I want to ask you. Chen Yan was about to say something, but he glanced at Chu Muyan's room across the hall, pulled Chen Ling into his room, and closed the door. Yan, I'll just ask directly. Chen Ling looked him seriously in the eyes. The one who massacred Bingchen Street, was it you? Chen Yan's body trembled, seeing the fragments of the safety talisman in Chen Ling's hand. He silently lowered his head. Seeing Chen Yan admit it so readily, Chen Ling, who had been preparing to persuade him further, was momentarily stunned. It really was you? Chen Ling asked again. So, you also merged with a calamity? I don't know. When I woke up, I was already standing there. You also lost a segment of memory? Chen Ling's brows furrowed slightly. He believed Chen Yan wouldn't lie to him. And even he himself was in a similar situation, inexplicably transmigrating. Inexplicably gaining the audience in his mind. And by the time he woke up, he was already back home. But the Grey Realm convergence point wasn't in the back mountains? You should have still been in surgery at the time. Why would you also be affected? I don't know. Chen Yan shook his head again. I just remember the doctor giving me anesthesia. And when I woke up, I was on Bingchen Street. I was very scared. So I hid in the back mountains. And when I came out again, I saw brother crawling out of that monster. Hearing this, Chen Ling finally pieced together the cause and effect. However, why Chen Yan was affected by the Grey Realm convergence was still a question. Could it be that when that calamity broke into the second district, it happened to encounter Chen Yan on the operating table? And then they merged? Chen Ling didn't quite understand the process of merging, and couldn't think of anything more. Understood. Chen Ling nodded. Stay home these next few days. Don't go anywhere, understand? I'll handle the other matters. Chen Yan hesitated, wanting to speak. What's wrong? I originally wanted to go see mom and dad. Chen Ling paused. Then after a long silence, he spoke softly. Let brother clear your name first. After things calm down, I'll take you to see them. Okay? Okay. Chen Yan nodded obediently. Stay away from that Chu Muyan these next few days. Don't let him touch you. And talk to him less. Okay. If Han Meng comes looking for you again and asks you some questions, you answer like this. Okay. After giving his instructions, Chen Ling turned and left. Chen Yan gently locked the door and lay down on the hard plank bed. He turned his head to look out the window. In his chestnut-colored eyes was the reflection of the vast blue aurora. Suddenly, at the edge of the aurora sky, a faint red glow lit up, like a cinnabar-colored star. Here it comes again, Chen Yan murmured to himself. As the cinnabar-like star grew brighter, a dream-like path extended from nothingness, connecting directly to Chen Yan's bedside. The path floated and swayed between the star and him, like a soft ribbon. Chen Yan lay on the bed, calmly watching this path to the divine grace. It was an olive branch extended to him by a deity. A moment later, he slowly raised his hand and grasped the flickering ribbon. Then, he crushed it with force. Bang! A faint, almost imperceptible sound echoed in Chen Yan's ears. He crushed the path to the divine grace with one hand, turning it into scattered dust that vanished into nothingness. At the same time, the cinnabar-like star in the sky rapidly dimmed. He refused divine grace. Chen Yan opened his palm. A fragment of the divine path, about the size of a thumbnail, lay quietly in his hand. Like cinnabar-glazed glass, he casually opened the bedside drawer, tossed the cinnabar-glazed glass inside, then closed and locked it. In the dark drawer, more than 30 identical pieces of cinnabar-glazed glass shimmered faintly. Ellipsis. Morning. Chen Ling woke up early and washed. Today, no kind person was reimbursing his travel expenses, so he could only walk to Bingchen Street. The round trip alone would take over 4 hours, so he had to wake up earlier and return later than the other reserve enforcers. To his surprise, Chu Muyan seemed to have woken up even earlier than him. As soon as Chen Ling entered the living room, he saw Chu Muyan sitting sideways at the table, dressed in a casual shirt and knitted vest, holding an ancient medical book. He seemed to be diligently studying something, occasionally pushing up his glasses. It was as if he wasn't sitting in a leaky, broken living room, but in an elegant cafe in Aurora City. Seeing Chen Ling wake up, he smiled and put down his book. Good morning. Morning. Chen Ling responded casually and hurried out to have breakfast at Zhao's breakfast shop across the street. Ever since he tipped off Uncle Zhao last time, he felt a bit guilty. So he made sure to patronize their shop every morning, which was like sending Uncle Zhao more business. As for Zhao Yi, he had been grounded by Uncle Zhao for a week and still hadn't left the house. After Chen Ling left, Chu Muyan slowly put down his book. He stood up and walked directly towards Chen Ling's room, his footsteps on the old floor making no sound at all, like a ghost. Chu Muyan walked to Chen Ling's bed, his eyes behind his glasses slightly narrowed. He put on white gloves, took out a pair of tweezers from his pregnant, and collected a few strands of hair and tiny skin flakes scattered on the pillow, placing them all into a brown empty bottle. Having done all this, he quietly exited the room, and with a light wave of his hand, a wisp of wind swept across the floor, completely erasing his footprints. He did not return to his own room, but walked directly out of the house, passing through several streets until he reached the entrance of a dilapidated convenience store. Ding-a-ling. As he pushed open the door, a crisp bell rang. What do you want to buy? A woman sitting at the counter yawned lazily and asked casually. I want to buy a glimmer of hope. Hearing this reply, the woman's gaze instantly froze. Her previous laziness and casualness completely vanished, replaced by a pair of cold and sharp eyes. She watched Chu Muyan in front of her and slowly spoke. "Show your identification." Chu Muyan lightly raised a fingertip, and a white poker card appeared magically in his palm, which he placed face down on the counter. The woman flipped the card over. "Open black lens bracket spade 7 close black lens bracket. Passcode." She spoke again. Chu Muyan said faintly, "Human civilization will never be extinguished." Chapter 25. Lowering one's head. Spade 7. What are your demands? I need a quiet room. Reason? To conduct a calamity level assessment experiment on a suspected fusion person. A fusion person? The woman raised an eyebrow in surprise. Is it possible to recruit him? The target can be ruled out as a fusion faction member, but he shows an inclination to join the enforcers. Whether he has recruitment value depends on the results of my assessment. Understood. The woman pulled a key from the bottom of the cabinet. The quiet room is on the second basement floor. Chu Muyan took the key, opened the secret door to the basement, and vanished in a flash. The woman stepped out from behind the counter, stood by the door, subtly observing her surroundings, then flipped the "Open for business" sign to "Closed." Shutting down for the day. Rustle. In the darkness, Chu Muyan lit a kerosene lamp and descended the narrow stairs step by step. The dim yellow light gradually descended. At the bottom of the stairs was a space of about 10 square meters. Chu Muyan bent down and placed the kerosene lamp in the center of the floor. Then took out a small brown bottle and poured its contents out. Chu Muyan took off his glasses, and a brilliant blue light emanated from his eyes. A powerful pressure transformed into a whirlwind, stirring within the space. Diagnosis. Begin. Bingchen Street. Chen Ling moved through the broken ruins, meticulously searching. He was now very grateful that he had been assigned to this place and tasked with finding clues. If Chen Yan had left any clues here, he would be the first to know, and the first to cut them off. If the safety charm from yesterday hadn't been picked up by him but had fallen into the hands of other enforcers, the consequences would have been unimaginable. But the facts proved that Chen Yan had not left anything else behind. Chen Ling spent the entire morning turning the ruins of Bingchen Street inside out. Besides various flesh and blood remains, there was nothing else, not even a trace of the calamity domain that Qianfan had mentioned. Chen Ling couldn't help but wonder what kind of ability the calamity within Chen Yan possessed. As he was pondering, a figure approached from afar. Wu Yudong? Chen Ling recognized the person and was slightly startled. Wu Yudong being on Bingchen Street was not unexpected, but the problem was that the current Wu Yudong had metal crutches under his shoulders. One leg was already in a cast. His body was covered in wounds and bandages, and his left eye was bruised black, looking as dirty as if he had just crawled out of a trench. Hearing Chen Ling's voice, Wu Yudong, who had been lowering his head, finally showed a faint glimmer in his eyes. Chen Ling. Wu Yudong gave a bitter smile. I thought I wouldn't live to see you again. You are. I'm not going to be an enforcer anymore. Wu Yudong looked up at the distant aurora, a hint of sorrow and desolation flashing in his bruised eyes. What happened? Chen Ling clearly remembered that when he left yesterday, the other party was full of anticipation to complete the mission. How did he end up like this today? Enforcers, and Bingchen Street. None of them are good. Chen Ling, do you know what kind of people live on this street? They are debt collectors, cultists, wanted criminals. This place is full of illegal gun deals, drug deals, organ deals. Yesterday, I went to find survivors on this street to collect information, and they mocked and insulted me. They kicked me into the toilet, made me clean their toilet. When I refused, they broke my leg. Wu Yudong's voice trembled more and more. He seemed to recall some painful memory, and veins bulged on his neck. They did it on purpose. The enforcers of the second district know what kind of place this street is. None of them wanted to come, so they asked the third district for manpower. I don't know what deal they made with Ma Zhang, but Ma Zhang transferred people from the third district's reserve. He knows we are new, poor, and have no influence. Who else would he transfer if not us? To put it nicely, we're here to support. To put it bluntly, we're just offerings from the enforcer higher-ups. I guarantee with my life, the enforcer higher-ups definitely have connections with the underground dealings on Bingchen Street. Why? My parents sold everything they had to put me through school. I became an enforcer by my own merits. How dare they humiliate me like this? Wu Yudong roared in anger, his eyes bloodshot, but even at this point, He still didn't dare to speak too loudly, because the enforcers of the second district were not far away. Under the gaze of a lion, an ant, no matter how enraged, can only be suppressed and silent. Wu Yudong's chest heaved violently, as if he was about to challenge Bingchen Street or the enforcers to a fight. But as a voice sounded, his body trembled again. Wu Yudong, Chen Ling, what are you two talking about? Qian Fan, dressed in a black and red uniform, walked over from a distance with his arms crossed, asking curiously. Wu Yudong's face instantly turned pale. Wu Yudong, didn't you say you weren't going to be an enforcer anymore? Qian Fan spoke again. Voluntarily withdrawing from the enforcer exam means there's no chance to go back. For people like you, this should be a life-changing opportunity. Have you really thought it through? Or, if you feel that the enforcers are currently not doing well in some aspects, you can bring it up, and we can discuss it further. Wu Yudong's expression changed repeatedly, and he tried to speak several times, but under Qian Fan's gaze, he finally just shook his head. No, nothing. I'm withdrawing voluntarily. What a pity. Chen Ling looked at Wu Yudong in front of him, and his mood suddenly became complicated. Wu Yudong dared to complain endlessly to Chen Ling about the enforcer's wrongdoings. But in front of an enforcer, he didn't dare to say a single word. But he couldn't call Wu Yudong cowardly, because even if Wu Yudong didn't become an enforcer, he would still have to live in the 3rd district, or one of the other major districts of the Aurora domain, and no matter where, there would be enforcers. For everyone living in the Aurora domain, the enforcers were like heaven. Wu Yudong looked deeply at Chen Ling, then lowered his head again. He struggled to lean on his cheap crutches, gritting his teeth, and limped towards the 3rd district. His figure gradually shrank as he walked away, until he became a tiny speck of fine sand, blown away to the end of the road. Chen Ling knew that from now on, Wu Yudong might never raise his head again. Sigh, actually, I think he's quite good. Hardworking, and with good potential. Qian Fan sighed as he watched Wu Yudong's departing back. Oh, right, Wu Yudong is gone, so his work needs to be done by someone else. From today onwards, you'll take over his duties. Chen Ling was startled and turned to look at Qian Fan. Qian Fan smiled as he met his gaze. In the sunlight, his smile was like that of a demon. Chapter 26. Are you ready to answer my questions? After Qian Fan finished speaking, he left. Chen Ling stood rooted to the spot, his mind involuntarily recalling Wu Yudong's lowered head from earlier. His fists subtly clenching, Wu Yudong lowered his head. What about him? If it were in his previous life, Chen Ling might not have been any different from Wu Yudong. Only by lowering his head could he find a way to survive in society. But this time, Chen Ling slowly turned his head, looking at the surviving half of Bingchen Street. His gaze icy cold. Want me to lower my head? Haha. Ellipsis. 3rd district. Basement. A chilling gale swept up from nothingness, roaring as it struck Chu Muyan. The kerosene lamp on the ground swayed violently, extinguishing in an instant, as the entire basement plunged into deathly silence and darkness. Chu Muyan grunted and fell heavily to the ground. He raised his head in astonishment, his eyes filled with shock and disbelief. Just now, at the moment he activated the Eye of Tracing Origin, he seemed to see a pair of crimson eyes glancing over from the infinite void far away. Just that one glance made his path to godhood tremble. This is. Chu Muyan stood stunned for a long time before suddenly snapping back to reality. He immediately scrambled up from the ground and rushed frantically up the steps, returning to the convenience store. What's wrong? Spade 7? Seeing Chu Muyan appear so hastily and flustered, the woman frowned slightly. I saw it. What? World Ender. The woman froze, not understanding what he meant for a moment. That guy is a world ender calamity, Chu Muyan stated with certainty. That's impossible. The woman immediately shook her head. No one can fuse with a world ender. Not even the current leader of the fusion faction. You must have seen wrong. I definitely didn't see wrong. Its gaze even struck fear into my divine path. We must notify Red King and Grey King immediately. Chu Muyan walked to the counter, pulled out paper and pen, and quickly began writing. If this is true, then there's likely to be a huge disaster. The woman immediately realized the seriousness of the situation. Even if Red King and Grey King arrive together, we might not be able to deal with him, unless Aurora Lord also joins forces with us. Hearing this, Chu Muyan's fingertips paused. What's wrong? The woman asked. A world ender level calamity possesses the power to wipe out a human realm. Chu Muyan slowly turned to look at her, his eyes flashing with madness. So, if we kill him and unleash the world ender, then we wouldn't have to carry out that plan. Would we? The woman was stunned. That's a world ender. Are you crazy? The woman stopped mid-sentence and shook her head. I almost forgot. You official members are all lunatics to begin with. I was just speaking casually. Chu Muyan pushed up his glasses, calming down, and spoke calmly. Let's first ask for instructions from Grey King and Red King. Chu Muyan finished writing the letter and handed it to the woman. The woman glanced at him. Oh, right. Weren't you going to conduct an absorption assessment on him? Are you still doing it? Yes. Then, as his recommender, what is your rating for him? S+. Chu Muyan said with unprecedented seriousness. Extremely dangerous. Ellipsis. Thump, thump, thump. A crisp knocking sound came, and the enforcers of the second district, who were leisurely drinking tea, froze and turned their heads in confusion. Who would come at this time? I don't know, Xianxia said as he opened the teahouse door. Chen Ling stood quietly outside the door. Seeing the door open, he smiled and waved to the several enforcers inside. These were the enforcers who were originally supposed to be in charge of Bingchen Street in the second district. But now they were all holed up here drinking tea, leaving everything to Chen Ling and Wu Yudong, which itself indicated some issues. Now it seemed Wu Yudong was telling the truth. This group of enforcers were all colluding with the people on Bingchen Street. Now, instead of conducting a thorough search, they only sent 2 newcomers, purely for show. This way, if Aurora City headquarters ever questioned them, they could claim they were short-staffed and that Chen Ling and his companion handled everything on Bingchen Street, thus shifting the blame while maintaining good relations with Bingchen Street, truly killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Seeing that it was Chen Ling, the enforcers immediately lost interest and lowered their heads to drink tea, having no intention of talking to him. It's you? Why are you here? Xianxia asked in surprise when he saw Chen Ling. Regarding my work, there are still some matters that require clarification from you esteemed sirs. What matters? My task is to question the survivors of Bingchen Street for information about the calamity. Correct? Correct. What if they don't cooperate? Hearing this question, Xianxia sneered inwardly, but on the surface, he still patiently replied, if they don't cooperate, you find a way to make them cooperate? We are enforcers, and we have the authority to enforce the law. So, I can use force? Of course. Chen Ling heard the other enforcers inside the room couldn't help but laugh. Then I understand. Chen Ling nodded. If they don't cooperate, I'll drag them over and let you esteemed sirs handle them. Good that you understand. Go quickly. Your assessment ends tomorrow, and you must complete the task today. As Chen Ling left, Xianxia closed the door behind him, and then several unrestrained laughs broke out. This kid is really stubborn. Even more of a greenhorn than that Wu Yudong. Did you hear him? He even wants to use force. Did he really not bother to find out what kind of place Bingchen Street is? Sigh, he's from a poor place. How could he have so many information channels? Don't make fun of him. Drink tea. Drink tea. Faint laughter passed through the door crack and reached Chen Ling's ears. But he didn't care. At this moment, his attention was focused on the prompt flashing before his eyes. Audience expectation +1, +1, +1. Chen's directing principles. Article 13. When existing conflicts are clear, emotional climaxes can be appropriately increased through character relationships to tug at the audience's emotions, enhance the satisfaction of the original conflict's breakout, and even add subsequent conflict satisfaction points. Chen Ling could, of course, have gone directly to Bingchen Street and caused a scene, but that would have made the conflict relatively singular, and the audience expectation wouldn't have increased much. Therefore, he chose to involve the enforcers. Chen Ling walked through the first half of Bingchen Street, which had been reduced to ruins, and arrived at the place with the most survivors, Black Axe Tavern. This was usually the most frequented gathering place for Bingchen Street residents. Now that half the street was in ruins, it served as a temporary shelter for some people. Yesterday, Wu Yudong was insulted here, but Chen Ling was not him. He held the survey form in one hand and pushed open the tavern door with the other. With a harsh creak, the entire tavern fell into dead silence. Countless fierce, cold gazes swept towards the doorway, converging on Chen Ling. Hello, I am Enforcer Chen Ling. Are you ready to answer my questions? Chapter 27, The Answer. After a brief silence, the tavern erupted in laughter. Just had one little Wu Yudong leave, and now another one comes. Officer Ma truly has sincerity. You still talking? If you hadn't been so wild yesterday, would that little Wu Yudong have been scared away? That kid was so honest and simple, it would have been great if he had stayed for a few more days to play. But this one looks even better than yesterday's. Quite handsome. Let's all hold back a bit today. Old Qian said if this one gets scared off too, there won't be anyone left. Run? Not this time. A gaunt man slowly stood up, his deeply sunken eyes staring at Chen Ling like a zombie's. Not bad, quite young, and in good spirits. His body parts should fetch a good price. Gu Dao, Bone Blade. That's too much. It'll be hard to clean up later. HMPH. Bingchen Street was massacred by the calamity, which was the enforcer's dereliction of duty. What? We're not allowed to ask for some compensation? The gaunt man, known as Gu Dao, Bone Blade, sneered. Everyone in the tavern scrutinized Chen Ling at the entrance, like a pack of greedy, hungry beasts examining their delivered prey. Chen Ling stood there, seemingly oblivious to their words. He pulled a pen from his pocket and tapped it on the form. Gu Dao, Bone Blade. Right? Chen Ling wrote down the name. Let's start with you. Where were you on the night Bingchen Street was massacred? Seeing that this young man dared to ask questions, everyone exchanged surprised glances. After all, when Wu Yudong saw this scene yesterday, he was so scared he couldn't even speak. Is this kid truly reckless? Or truly stupid? Gu Dao, Bone Blade's eyes narrowed slightly. He stood up and slowly walked in front of Chen Ling. Where was I? Gu Dao, Bone Blade, blew on his black fingernails. Then his pale knuckles, like eagle talons, clawed towards Chen Ling's neck. I was in your mother's bed. In a flash of lightning, a cold glint flashed in Chen Ling's eyes. His right hand, holding the pen, stabbed back fiercely, the pen tip instantly piercing Gu Dao, Bone Blade's palm. Under the bone-chilling pain, Gu Dao, Bone Blade, screamed. Before he could react, a hand rapidly enlarged in his vision, then pressed down on his head, smashing it heavily to the ground. Soldier God Path, Judgment Path, Third Stage, Killing Rhapsody. Bang! Wood splinters flew, and crimson blood flowed. Everyone only felt a blur before their eyes. And Gu Dao, Bone Blade, was slammed into the floor by the young man's single hand. His heavy cotton coat lifted slightly, and the entire tavern fell into a dead silence. Assaulting an enforcer is a serious crime, Chen Ling said calmly. He slowly straightened his back, clapped his blood-stained hands, and his gaze swept over everyone. Open black lens bracket audience expectation +2 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket audience expectation +2 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket audience expectation, close black lens bracket. After a brief silence, everyone in the tavern finally recovered, their shock and astonishment replaced by furious killing intent. 3 of them immediately drew their guns and aimed at Chen Ling. Damn it, a tough nut? Chen Ling had known they had guns. The moment they drew them, he flipped over the nearby wine table. The massive table body spun in midair, and a group of figures immediately retreated to the sides, creating chaos in the front. At the same time, Chen Ling, half-bent, flashed out from under the table, swung a wine bottle, and smashed it into the face of the nearest gunman. Splat! The wine bottle shattered, and sharp fragments cut across the man's cheek, leaving several crimson blood trails. Chen Ling backhanded with an elbow strike, directly knocking him unconscious to the ground. In an instant, 2 consecutive flashes of gunfire erupted in the distance, and whistling bullets shot directly towards Chen Ling. In the dimness, Chen Ling's figure was as agile as a ghost. His heavy cotton coat danced and twisted, pierced by 2 bullets, but not a single one landed on Chen Ling's body. This was Chen Ling's first time using Killing Rhapsody. The most obvious feeling was that his body felt weightless, like a phantom. In such a cramped and chaotic tavern, he could move around like a fish in water, as long as he could observe the enemy's gun-raising movements in advance. He was confident he could dodge the bullets. Of course, this was assuming the number of gunmen wasn't too high. And as he dealt with the first gunman, the other 2 immediately felt a sense of crisis, as if they were locked onto by a beast. Their gaze tried to track Chen Ling's position, but with Chen Ling continuously flipping tables and chairs to obscure their vision, this was almost impossible. They only heard a whistling sound from their ear, and the next moment, their head was heavily struck, and they lost consciousness. Chen Ling dealt with another gunman, snatched his gun, and repeatedly pulled the trigger on several burly men charging with knives. Bang bang bang. Several blood flowers bloomed on their legs. And they immediately screamed, falling to the ground one after another. Wails, curses, gunshots, and the sound of tables and chairs falling to the ground rose and fell. In just 30 seconds since Chen Ling entered the room, the entire tavern was in disarray. Out of the 14 people originally in the tavern, 13 were knocked down. Chen Ling casually tossed aside the empty handgun, stepped over the body of a burly man with 4 broken ribs. And as the man screamed, he unhurriedly walked to the only intact chair in the room and sat down. Boss, a glass of whiskey. Chen Ling kicked the burly man again. And another scream rang out. Put it on his tab. The one-eyed boss, who had been standing behind the counter the whole time, finally came to his senses. His eyes filled with fear as he looked at Chen Ling. Being able to open a tavern on Bingchen Street and have it become a gathering spot for most residents. This one-eyed boss was naturally not an ordinary person. He had traveled the 7 districts and seen many people. But he had never seen a young man like Chen Ling, who acted with such decisiveness and ruthlessness. Is this guy really from the reserve? He would believe it if someone said this guy was an enforcement officer. The one-eyed boss wisely put away the revolver he had secretly clutched in his hand, lowered his head, pulled out a wine glass, and began preparing the whiskey. Name, Chen Ling said calmly, crossing his legs and placing the form on his lap. In the silent tavern, no one answered. I'm asking you. He kicked the burly man's broken ribs. Ah, Li Meng, Li Meng. The burly man immediately gave in. On the night the calamity invaded. Where were you? I was right here in this tavern. Did you see the appearance of that calamity? I think I did. I was just coming out to relieve myself and saw it flash across the street. It should have been humanoid. The burly man stammered out the truth. Chen Ling didn't speak again. He stood up, took the whiskey from the counter, and gently swirled it twice, the clear ice cubes clinking against the glass. Then, he raised the glass and slowly poured it over the burly man's bloody wound. Ah, a heart-wrenching scream echoed through the street. I'm telling the truth. It's all true. Do you know? Reporting information to an enforcer with words like, I think, and, should, without concrete evidence, is considered spreading rumors. Chen Ling's eyes narrowed slightly. I'll ask you again. Did you see it? I really. The glass in Chen Ling's hand gradually tilted, and more liquor poured onto the wound, making the burly man tremble all over from the pain. No, I didn't see it. I didn't see anything. Chapter 28. He gets off work. Upon hearing this, Chen Ling finally placed the wine glass back on the ground and wrote a line in one of the form's columns. No witnesses. Immediately after, he ordered another glass of whiskey and walked over to the next Bingchen Street resident. Name, quote ellipsis ellipsis quote. Name, Sun Laoliu. Did you see the calamity? I, Sun Laoliu swallowed, seeing what had just happened to the burly man. I didn't see it. Chen Ling nodded and continued to the next person, watching Chen Ling single-handedly beat everyone down and then calmly question them. A single thought simultaneously emerged in the minds of Sun Laoliu and the others. Is that guy Ma screwing me over? Didn't they say all the people sent were rookies from the reserve list? Looking at his ghostly dodging ability just now, he's not far off from an enforcement officer, is he? Or, was he an enforcement officer to begin with? Could it be that the matter of Bingchen Street was exposed, and that guy Ma plans to take this opportunity to eliminate all of them and then wash his hands clean? The more they pondered, the uglier their expressions became. They stared at Chen Ling in unison, terrified that after he finished questioning them, he would pull out a gun and shoot them one by one. Chen Ling unhurriedly finished recording everyone's statements, having them press their handprints. For those who had already been knocked unconscious, he simply wrote, no witnesses, and forcibly pressed a fingerprint. Immediately after, he went to the boss for a thick rope, tied everyone's hands together tightly, and then pushed open the tavern door. Thank you for your cooperation, see you tomorrow. The young man wearing a tattered cotton overcoat stood at the entrance, smiled slightly at the people inside the tavern, and turned to leave. Inside the chaotic tavern, a deathly silence fell. They didn't die? After an unknown period, Sun Laoliu awoke from that gaze, his back already drenched in cold sweat. He turned to look at the boss. What are you standing there for? Hurry and help us untie these. Ellipsis ellipsis. Did you hear gunshots just now? Inside the tea house, an enforcer hesitated before speaking. No, are you sure you heard it right? Qian Fan replied casually while rubbing his mahjong tiles. Don't worry, those guys on Bingchen Street know their limits. At most, they'll use knives when they're having fun. Pulling out a gun and making a big scene isn't good for anyone. That's true. Will that kid Chen Ling be able to get out today? Hard to say. His looks are better than Wu Yudong's. If that group is a bit ruthless, tisk. What if someone dies? Will 3rd District have trouble explaining? What's there to explain? A poor kid from Han Xuan Street. I heard his parents were scared silly by the calamity. Even if he dies here, just bury him anywhere. Who would know? Who would come to cause trouble? Don't worry. 3rd District is Brother Ma's territory. He can handle it. 3 bamboos. Pung. Bang bang bang. The knocking sound rang out again. Tisk. Who is it now? Xianxia stood up, a little displeased. Every day. So much trouble. Probably that kid realized something was wrong and ran out to complain to us. Haha. He hasn't been gone long. Has he? He wouldn't have just looked around the entrance and come back. Would he? Amidst everyone's discussions, Xianxia opened the door and saw Chen Ling standing there. His brows immediately furrowed. Why is it you again? Haven't I made myself clear? This is my work report. Quote ellipsis ellipsis question mark quote. Chen Ling pulled out the form from his embrace, ready to hand it to Xianxia, when he suddenly noticed a bit of bloodstain and shredded skin on the corner of the form. He casually flicked it away with his finger, wiped it clean, and then handed it to him with a smile. Xianxia was stunned. The other enforcers playing mahjong inside were also stunned. Xianxia took the form, looked at it suspiciously for a while, then laughed. Little Chen, I know this job is a bit challenging for you, but you can't just press your own handprint and fool people, can you? I'm not fooling anyone, Chen Ling said seriously. They're right there in the tavern. If you don't believe me, you can go and ask them. Xianxia's brows furrowed even tighter. He looked at Chen Ling, not knowing for a moment if he was joking or serious. No, how could that group of people be so obedient and cooperate with his investigation? This kid, he couldn't have sold out his looks to get them to. But the time was too short, wasn't it? I'll go take a look. Xianxia immediately got up, just about to walk out the door, when he suddenly thought of something and turned back. You should know that falsely reporting mission results will lead to disqualification from the exam. Right? I know. Xianxia put a cigarette in his mouth and walked towards the tavern. Unconvinced, the other enforcers exchanged glances and curiously followed him. Seeing the many enforcers leave, Chen Ling looked down at the mahjong table, and a few lines of characters flashed by. Open black lens bracket audience anticipation +1, +1, +1, close black lens bracket. Ellipsis ellipsis. Black Axe Tavern. Can't you move faster? In the chaotic tavern, wails rose and fell. Sun Laoliu, who had relatively minor injuries, couldn't help but curse at the boss, who was slowly cutting the ropes. The boss gave him a cold glance. One more word, and I'll slaughter you. Why weren't you so tough just now? That kid is an enforcement officer. What good would being tough do us? He's really an enforcement officer? Sun Laolu's eyes widened. Are you sure? Many years ago, when I was dealing drugs in 3rd District, I was tracked by an enforcement officer. His movements were exactly like that young man's. If I hadn't been lucky, I wouldn't have escaped to 2nd District. The boss paused. Do you know who that enforcement officer was? Who? The 3rd District Law Enforcement Officer Chief. Han Meng. Sun Laoliu stood frozen in place. Creak. The tavern door opened. Xianxia stood at the entrance, seeing the messy tavern floor, and the many bloody, dying Bingchen Street residents. An expression of disbelief appeared in his eyes. This. Xianxia stood like a statue at the entrance. This was done by that kid? The many enforcers who arrived afterward were also greatly astonished. Xianxia walked into the tavern, carefully stepping over the corpse like Ji Yu Dao, Boneblade, and the continuously wailing burly man. All those who were still conscious stared intently at the several enforcers, their eyes burning with rage. Xianxia. Sun Laoliu gritted his teeth and sat up. You son of a bitch. I'll kill you. Xianxia frowned. What are you cursing about? Click. The sound of a bullet being chambered rang out. The boss had moved forward at some point, his gun pointed at Xianxia's forehead. The other enforcers were startled and simultaneously drew their guns, pointing them at the boss and the struggling people in the tavern who were trying to get up. The blood-soaked tavern's atmosphere suddenly solidified. What are you trying to do? Xianxia's forehead seeped cold sweat, and he spoke in a low voice. Don't forget, we have a cooperative relationship. Cooperation? You sent that guy to smash up the place, and you're still talking about cooperation? Sun Laoliu gritted his teeth. I don't know what's going on. Chen Ling is just a reserve. Bullshit reserve. Sun Laoliu pointed at the wailing crowd on the floor. You fucking tell me again. This is a reserve? Qian Fan was speechless. Where's Chen Ling? He turned to ask another enforcer. He seems to have left. Left? Yes. He said he was off work. Chapter 29 Dan Zhao. Sigh, I lost a lot. Chen Ling walked on the mountain road leading home, looking down at his cotton overcoat with 2 holes punched in it. His eyes filled with heartache. The reserve seats during the exam period had no salary. And naturally, there was no subsidy for torn clothes. Calculating it, he had inexplicably lost a piece of clothing during his work. This made his family, which already had no source of income, even worse off. Of course, he still had some gains today. Current expectation value, 40%. Ever since he was instructed by Qian Fan to take over Wu Yudong's investigation, the audience expectation value had been steadily increasing. It rose by 5% when he went to the tea house to find the enforcer, and by 10% after he killed his way through the tavern. Originally, Chen Ling thought that the enforcer returning to the tavern would also yield expectation value. But it didn't. It seemed that the audience expectation value would only increase when he was personally present to witness the situation. Chen Ling felt that he had vaguely figured out a way to quickly gain expectation value. He walked along the mountain road for over 2 hours, finally returning to Han Shuang Street. Before he even entered the door, he heard a clear and melodious opera tune coming from inside the house. The little nun, 16 years old, in her prime, had her hair shorn by her master. Every day, in the Buddha hall, she burns incense and changes water. Seeing several disciples playing below the mountain gate, he cast his eyes upon us. We cast our eyes upon him. He with us, we with him, both sides filled with longing. Upon hearing this opera, Chen Ling's eyebrows slightly raised. This passage from Siphon is a classic segment in opera, widely known in his previous life due to the famous movie, Farewell My Concubine. Chen Ling had heard it many times. But what he didn't expect was that the opera repertoire in this world was the same as in his previous life. What surprised Chen Ling even more was how beautiful Chen Yan's voice was. And his singing skills were extremely solid. Even those famous actors who performed in the theater in his previous life paled in comparison to him. Logically speaking, without guidance from a renowned master, it would be almost impossible to reach this level. While thinking, Chen Ling entered the house, only to see Chu Muyan still sitting in the living room in the same posture, diligently engrossed in a book. You haven't moved all day, have you? Chen Ling couldn't help but ask. I did move. I went out for a walk in the morning to get some fresh air. Chen Ling nodded. Ayan didn't bother you, did he? No. That's good. Chen Ling sat down by the table, his gaze fixed on Chen Yan in the bedroom, who was practicing drawing eyebrows in the mirror while also practicing his voice. He spoke with a complicated expression. Ayan has been interested in opera since he was a child. But unfortunately, 3rd District is too small, and no one can teach him. Our family also can't afford a teacher. Opera, indeed, not many people understand it these days. Chu Muyan glanced towards the bedroom. As far as I know, even in Aurora City, there aren't many who do. Chen Yan's singing gradually softened. He seemed to have heard Chen Ling return and immediately ran to the living room, excitedly asking, Brother, do you think my makeup looks good? Chen Yan blinked, the red apricot-like eyeshadow blending outwards, delicate and soft. His eyes, outlined by thick black lines, turned upwards, appearing exceptionally lively. Chen Ling recognized this as the makeup for a Dan Zhao, but perhaps because Chen Yan was self-taught, there were still many differences compared to his previous life. But even so, this was still a flawless, perfect beautiful young man face. It looks good, Chen Ling replied sincerely, but some details seem a bit off. If I have time, I'll help you adjust it. Brother, do you also understand opera makeup? A little bit. Chen Yan's eyes were filled with admiration as he looked at him. Brother, do you think I can perform at the New Year's Gala when I go back to school? Of course, you can. In the entire 3rd District, only our Ayan can sing opera. When you put on your opera costume and makeup, and open your mouth to sing, your classmates will definitely be shocked. Chen Ling said with a light chuckle. He still has to go to school? Chu Muyan asked in surprise. Yes, Chen Ling nodded. He just started high school, but he fell ill a few days after enrollment. Now that he's recovered, he should be able to enroll with the next batch of new students. Brother, what should I sing then? If you're singing alone, siphon would be quite good. Then I'll go practice again. Chen Yan's eyes lit up. He immediately threw on that open red theater gown and dashed back to his bedroom, ready to start practicing again. Ultimately, Chen Yan was just a 15-year-old child. At this age, he yearned for friends and attention. When Chen Ling was in school, he had also fantasized countless times about taking a guitar onto the stage and showing off in front of countless teachers and students. Unfortunately, he couldn't play at all. But for Chen Yan, combining his interest with performance was a very exciting thing. No rush, Chen Ling said with a helpless smile. Tidy up, we'll be eating soon. Seeing this, Chen Yan obediently came to help Chen Ling wash vegetables. Just then, his peripheral vision caught sight of the two large holes in the cotton overcoat, and his eyes slightly narrowed. Brother, what happened to your clothes? His tone suddenly became serious. It's nothing, it just got snagged. Chu Muyan, who was reading, looked over at the sound, and his eyes behind his glasses immediately narrowed. You were shot? Chen Yan suddenly looked up. No, it didn't hit me. Chen Ling felt Chen Yan's gaze and immediately explained. They were too slow to shoot. And I dodged it. I wasn't injured. Chu Muyan scrutinized him for a moment and nodded slightly. Indeed, you're not injured. Brother, who shot at you? Chen Yan asked coldly. It was. Chen Ling was about to say Bingchen Street, but seeing Chen Yan's eyes flickering with bone-chilling coldness, he hesitated for a moment before saying, just two small thugs. They've already been taken away by the enforcer. He knew Chen Yan was a fusion person, and he also knew that on that night, Chen Yan had gone on a killing rhapsody on Bingchen Street. If he mentioned Bingchen Street again, he worried that Chen Yan would go back and massacre the entire street tonight. One must know that the street was most likely already occupied by the enforcer, and if Chen Yan went again, he might encounter a judge. Upon hearing this, Chen Yan's expression softened. He silently picked up the torn cotton overcoat. I'll sew it for you. Chen Yan's opera robes were all made by himself, so mending a piece of clothing was not a difficult task for him. They had guns, how did you win? Chu Muyan stared into Chen Ling's eyes, as if trying to see through his thoughts. They had guns, but they didn't know how to use them. Several shots just hit my clothes. Why are you asking this? Chen Ling naturally couldn't say that he possessed the killing rhapsody, as that involved the theater and the existence of audience. Nothing. Chu Muyan withdrew his gaze and stared at the book cover, lost in thought. After the three finished dinner, they each returned to their rooms. Night enveloped the entire sky, with only the azure aurora silently floating. Chen Ling, deep in sleep, his consciousness had already drifted into the theater. In the silent, dim room, a figure slowly approached. It was Chu Muyan. His glasses reflected a pale glimmer under the aurora, and his cold eyes fixated on the sleeping Chen Ling. A hint of killing intent emerging in their depths. His right hand, gripping a short knife like a cold moon, slowly lifted. Chapter 30. Good night. However, his hand stopped halfway through its ascent. He saw a sliver of moonlight pierce through the clouds, perfectly illuminating the wooden floor beneath his feet through the window. Light and shadow danced, and two characters slowly appeared. Go back. Below these two characters, a playing card was reflected. It was a gray joker. A gray open black lens bracket king close black lens bracket. The moment Chu Muyan saw this card, his pupils contracted. He immediately lowered his arm, and the short blade slithered into his sleeve like a snake, disappearing from sight. A cloud of gray and black drifted in with the wind, obscuring the faint moonlight. The characters on the floor vanished with it, as if they had never appeared. Chu Muyan took a deep look at the sleeping Chen Ling, then turned and left. As he gently closed the door, the room fell into a deathly silence. Several seconds later, from the shadows in the corner, Chen Yan, dressed in pajamas, slowly emerged. The young boy's crimson eyes were fixed on the direction of Chu Muyan's bedroom. In his hand, at some unknown point, was a blood-stained bone-cutting knife. As Chu Muyan's bedroom door completely closed, the young boy's eyelids drooped shut. When he opened his eyes again, a chilling killing intent was buried deep within them. The ethereal aurora surged outside the window. Chen Yan turned his head slightly, looking at the sleeping Chen Ling on the bed. Brother, good night, he murmured to himself. As his words fell, his figure silently passed through the wall, returning to his own room. Ellipsis. At the same time, 3rd District, Enforcer Headquarters, Office. Brother Ma, there's news from Bingchen Street. A 3-stripe enforcement officer hurried in. Ma Zhang raised an eyebrow. What did they say? The enforcement officer hesitated for a moment. They cursed very badly. Ma Zhang. Why? Is it because the lockdown hasn't been lifted yet? No. They said you're unethical. Not only did you not keep your promise, but you also sent someone over to insult them. The enforcement officer added, it's that reserve member you assigned to support Bingchen Street. Reportedly, the guys from Black Axe Tavern were beaten up by him. And Ji Yu Dao, Boneblade, is already furious. Reserve member? Ma Zhang asked in confusion. Who was it again? One is named Wu Yudong, and the other is Chen Ling. Wu Yudong was scared off by those people and voluntarily withdrew from the enforcer examination. The one who beat them up is Chen Ling. I seem to have an impression. Is he that kid from Han Shuang Street whose parents were scared silly by the disaster? Yes, it's him. He could beat up those guys from Black Axe Tavern? I didn't believe it either. But that's the truth. The enforcement officer paused, then carefully asked, Brother Ma, you think he couldn't have received open black lens bracket divine grace close black lens bracket? Could he? Ma Zhang didn't answer. He frowned and put a cigarette in his mouth. The enforcement officer immediately stepped forward and pulled out a lighter to light it for him. Could it be that this third district is about to have another enforcement officer? Ma Zhang exhaled a puff of smoke. Currently, the third district has 5 enforcement officers, and 3 of them are our people. But if another one appears, that would be troublesome, the enforcement officer muttered. He beat up people from Bingchen Street, so he must know some things. It'll probably be hard for him to join our side. Rather than letting him grow and become Han Meng's aide, why don't we act preemptively and get rid of him? The enforcement officer narrowed his eyes and drew a hand across his neck. Ma Zhang scoffed. Xianglin, your vision still needs a lot of tempering. The enforcement officer, who was called Xianglin, was stunned. Was I wrong? You're right, but your perspective is too small. Ma Zhang flicked the ash from his cigarette and said indifferently, even if this kid received open black lens bracket divine grace close black lens bracket, he's only tier 1 now. It'll take a long time for him to pose a threat to us. Instead of making a move on him, why not change the target and solve the problem at its root? You mean Han Meng? Before Han Meng came, the third district was our domain. Back then, our businesses were the largest in the 7 districts. Even the current Bingchen Street is only half our size. But ever since this kid was parachuted in as the director of the third district, he's purged the third district, directly cutting off our financial channels and forcing us to reluctantly go to Bingchen Street to re-establish connections. Ma Zhang's eyes gradually turned cold. He put the cigarette butt into the ashtray. He's the law enforcement officer chief of the third district. Normally, we wouldn't have a chance to act. But now it's different. Why is it different? Under what circumstances would a 4-stripe enforcement officer die in the third district? Xianglin pondered for a moment, as if he had thought of something, and his eyes suddenly lit up. A disaster? The law enforcement officer chief of each district is an important position. Once something happens, people from Aurora City will definitely come to investigate. Normally, we can't touch him, but now there's a ready-made culprit, who just happened to descend upon the third district. Once directly defeated Han Meng, and then disappeared without a trace. Ma Zhang said with a sneer, kill Han Meng, fake it as a mutual destruction from a disaster attack. Not only does it solve this major hidden danger above our heads, but it also allows us to legitimately unseal the third district and restore trade with the second district immediately. This way, the anger from Bingchen Street will also subside. But what if that disaster runs out again after everything is over? Who can prove that the one that runs out later is the same one as now? Xianglin was stunned for a moment, and couldn't help but exclaim, it has to be Brother Ma. Now that Han Meng has been injured by the disaster, his strength is not what it used to be. As long as we plan it well, he's as good as dead. A few strands of killing intent flashed in Ma Zhang's eyes. Call old Dao over too. Let's discuss this properly. Okay, by the way, what about that Chen Ling? A sharp glint flashed in Ma Zhang's eyes. Don't let him contact those people from Bingchen Street again, lest they get angry again. Just find an excuse to let him join the enforcers. Once Han Meng is dealt with, we'll be his direct superiors. At that time, won't we be able to do whatever we want with him? Understood. Morning, brother. Chen Ling pushed open the door and saw Chen Yan sitting in the living room, smiling and greeting him. Up so early? Chen Ling asked in surprise. Couldn't sleep last night, so I got up early to memorize lines. Chen Yan held up a handwritten script in his hand and said seriously. Chen Ling nodded, just as he was about to wash up and go out. Xu Muyan also pushed open his door. It's your turn to wake up late today. Xu Muyan responded casually. His eyes were a bit dark, looking like he hadn't slept all night either. Does your exam end today? Xu Muyan seemed to remember something. Yes, today is the last day. Go for it, brother. Chen Yan made an encouraging gesture. You can definitely become an enforcer. I hope so. Chen Ling smiled. After what happened yesterday, Chen Ling no longer held much hope for passing the enforcer exam. For ordinary people like him and Wu Yudong, becoming an enforcer through their own efforts was as difficult as ascending to heaven. What's more, he had beaten up those guys from Black Axe Tavern yesterday, which meant he had completely made an enemy of Enforcement Officer Ma Zhang of the 3rd District. The other party certainly wouldn't let him be promoted. But even if he couldn't become an enforcer, going to Bingchen Street to harvest some expectation points wouldn't be bad. Would it? Chen Ling stroked his chin, thinking to himself.